Yeah, man. So shit is crazy right now, man. Motherfucking divorce rate higher than it's ever been. Shit going up like inflation. And men and women, man, we really just stepping on each other's toes. Don't nobody want to play their role. And, people keep talking about equality. I keep hearing all this talk about equality. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't believe in equality. It's just not realistic. It never has been. What I do believe in is I believe in equal rights. Equal rights is what gives a black man like myself, a woman, the gays, etc. Equal rights is what give us a fair shot at becoming the best version of ourselves that we can possibly become. So I do believe in equal rights, but we got to stop throwing out that word equality. It's just not real. And I'm going to tell you, man, think about it. When you was in school, did your teacher treat you the same? When you played sports, did your coach treat you the same? No. The star player got the preferential treatment. There's always been a pecking order, and that's just the way it is. And I say this to say, because all of this ties into relationships. All of this affects relationships. We got to stop comparing men and women to each other because we two different animals, right? But society is trying to convince us that we're the same. And I believe that it's killing relationships. I believe that people are confused, right? Don't nobody want to play gender roles, but understand, God created men and women to complement one another. You play your role, I play my role, we come together and we do great. And that's what it's all about. But right now, we on top of each other, right? So instead of us being in our lanes, we on top and we intersecting each other. And I believe that's hurting relationships. And the bottom line is nobody's being raised to be husbands. Nobody's being raised to be wives. Women aren't being raised to be wives anymore. Men aren't being raised to be husbands. And everybody's just being raised to be a boss and make money. And it's screwing up relationships. So at the end of the day, the new generations, everybody's being raised in a way that you can't coexist with the other gender successfully. The divorce rate, it shows that out. It bears it out. So, and what's even worse about it is the United States is the worst. Right here in our own backyard, it's the worst. I like to say that we riding on skates. We off balance. We out of pocket. You can't have a household with no structure, no rules, no do's and don'ts, and expect that household to be in order. And that's the predicament we in right now. And it's only going to get worse from here.
Look at all the lights that shine so bright. And you and I were meant to fly like planes up in the sky. The sun is yours and the moon is mine.
What up, though? What's going on, everybody? My name is Ray Whitlock, and welcome to the first episode of Views in Poetry. On my show, I'm going to keep it 100. I'm going to keep it real. I'm going to give you my honest thoughts and opinions using the beautiful art form of poetry and spoken word. Today, we'll be talking about relationships and how modern culture, along with the worship of money, is destroying the natural dynamic between men and women. Everybody sit back, buckle your seatbelts, because I'm going to take you for a ride. Let's go. Somebody stole the bow and arrow from Cupid and fucked around and shot Cupid. I guess that explains why it ain't no love in the air. The atmosphere been polluted. You think it's just a coincidence that R&B music got muted? Hell no, you better believe it's a hidden agenda and it's deep rooted. Understand that the rise of feminism is sinking men and women like the Titanic. If you think the divorce rate is high now, just wait another 100 years, it's gonna be gigantic. If it wasn't for the sex, would either side bother to be romantic? I don't think so, because if the homie can't dive in, why would he swim across the Atlantic? It might be time to panic, because right now it seems like we in two different worlds. Niggas be on their Ime Adoka shit living in two different girls. Meanwhile, we got a population of girls who only prefer different girls. And in my community, we got a lot of brothers who only prefer different swirls. But you know it's different strokes for different folks. Some men like to screw around like Philip, beating it up like drumming. And ladies, you know most successful men gonna have a wife or a woman, but you just keep on coming, putting yourself in the running. And remember, Tupac's mama said never stop until you bust a nut. So I'ma keep on coming. We better get off the sidelines and get back in the running. These relationships getting stopped up, but we gotta keep on plumbing. Every movie star you watch on the big screen gotta play a role. Every player on the football team gotta play a role. Every member of the coaching staff gotta play a role. Every employee at the corporation must play a role. Who taught us that relationships are the exception to the rule when it comes to playing a role? Society keep telling us that men and women are the same, but that's a dangerous game because when shit goes down in flames, we know that men will get the blame. God created men and women to be like yin and yang, but today's society want men and women to be like yang and yang. So relationships stay in trouble like a street game. These days it seems like we just lease each other like a tenant. Hit each other for that weekend love, we just rent it. We used to work together, but these days we ain't connected. We got a lot of cleaning up to do, let's disinfect it. We supposed to be staying in our lane, but society got us intersected. We stuck in traffic, everybody been misdirected. Relationships used to go all the way, but the love got intercepted. And the notion of a traditional household is often rejected. We hear what the ladies want, but the needs of a man often get neglected. They say that money is the root of all evil, and I agree. It's ruining the natural dynamic between you and me. A lot of women just hire mechanics, a handyman, consider themselves free, lock their hearts up and throw away the key. A lot of men just get a house cleaner, get a chef, consider themselves free, lock their hearts up and throw away the key. But separation ain't the key. We got to get back to you and me. Didn't your parents explain the story of the birds and the bee? Right now we in a deep freeze, but it's time to turn up the heat back to 100 degrees. Fellas, let's kneel like Colin Kaepernick and get back on them knees. But if we do that, ladies, you got to be ready to appease. And ladies, paying your own bills is not a license to say you don't need a man. That ain't the remedy. But for the ones who fit that identity, that's the real definition of toxic masculinity. No amount of money can replace the value of a genuine connection. A dildo would never give you guidance, stability, nor protection. Daytime is busy, but nights are lonely because you lack affection. One of the greatest gifts from God is a genuine connection. A meaningful relationship is one of the most prized possessions in your human collection. But society tells us to put that on the back burner for careers and material possessions. Pimp C once told the other rappers to get up off the dumb shit. And now it's time for today's men and women to get up off the dumb shit. Monetary gain make us feel like we no longer need each other. So now we leaving each other over the dumb shit. So I got a public service announcement. Men and women, we do need each other. But that should be obvious. But clearly it's not because we fallen victim to the feminist propaganda along with the corrupt political lobbyists. And don't get it twisted, ladies. I fully endorse equal rights for women. I just don't condone gender superiority campaigns that poison the minds of women. Same goes for toxic masculinity. It's all childish and ain't nobody winning. It's not a competition. It's fake news like Don Lemon. God created men and women to complement one another, not to compete. A man and woman supposed to make each other complete. Money alone ain't gonna buy you happiness, that's deceit. So for the ones who made that purchase, you better find your receipt. God created men and women to complement one another, not to compete. A man and woman supposed to make each other complete. Money alone can't buy you happiness, that's deceit. So for the ones who made that purchase, you better find your receipt.